Over the past 8 years since Stellaris' release, the game has evolved and shifted. Overall, for the better, with some DLC and updates slightly missing the mark. In this video, I'm going to list my top 13 changes I'd like to see added to make this amazing game even better. Now, let's start off with a bang, war. So I love how you can have vassals and defense packs and all that lovely stuff, but when you have multiple fronts to work on, it can be painful. And usually, if we do declare war, you have 3 options. You win your war goal. For example, we're doing plunder here. You either settle status quo, so you just get what you had, or you can surrender. You can't piece out individual nations, so if I took all of this one empire, I would still have to take all of this down here and over here. It can get a mess, especially with bigger galaxies. It would be very nice if we had separate peace deals, or we could piece different empires out, or more interesting negotiations. Maybe we can do resources, gain techs, and maybe trade for different systems. Very similar to EU4. This game basically was kind of EU4 in space when it launched, and we kind of had a war system similar to it. I don't know why it just got simplified. These deals could be so interesting and shape the galaxy much more than, yes, I win, or I just get what I had. Maybe it could be similar to Crusader Kings 3, where you have the war score and you could capture leaders. Bombing a capital and maybe killing or capturing the leader would peace out, and you don't need to take every single damn planet. Imagine if there was espionage where you could try and capture them if you're at war. You could do a lot. You could maybe extend this with better diplomacy with neighboring empires. Maybe we could invite them into the deal, pay them to help us, and maybe even volunteers like in Hearts of Iron 4. Maybe it's a civic, maybe you're playing like a pirate, and people can hire you to come help. I know we have mercenaries, but they're kind of just, you make them, and then they just kind of do their own thing. We can hire that mercenary, but it's not attached to the empire. I think war mechanics and more war goal options and everything I listed would be insane. Now, something that I stare at a lot of the time, because look how many damn empires I've made for every single video, almost every video is a new empire, is the empire selection screen. More specifically, traits. You might notice I use pretty much always the same negatives, as there's not many, and the ones that you could maybe take instead are actually quite devastating compared to the others. For example, weak, you don't really ever want to take. Slow breeders, repugnant, not really. Unruly, or maybe non-adaptive. There isn't much variety in the negative traits. There are a lot of positive traits, and we do get more with DLC. As you can see, you need different species for these alternative traits. It would be nice to keep getting negative traits. Why not just negative alternatives to the positives, like less science? Maybe you just want to do a rush murder build. Less minerals, less energy, less food, or just cool unique ones. Next would be Megacorp. This was added with a Megacorp DLC a long time ago, but maybe we could get Megacorp Origin. We could maybe even get some mechanic where trade is more lifelike and your empire borders actually matter. Then maybe your branch offices help trade flow there. I'm not entirely sure. I just know trade could do with some more life, and Megacorp could be revamped to have at least an origin that helps, as well as changing the way Megacorp spawn. I hate how whenever you play a Megacorp, you just get bloody hives. The ability to like sell or hire shipyards or ships would be really cool. And finally, to do with Megacorp and trade, imagine having a civic where you become the Galactic Bank, where you can loan or then borrow from the trade empire that's a bank. That would be sick. Next, of course, espionage. You knew this was coming. Not being able to know everything about the empire straight away and having to invest a spy network into it is actually something good about the whole system. That creates a really dynamic and intriguing mechanic. Operations suck. They're so expensive. Early game, when they're probably the most useful. Armed privateers almost does nothing. Sabotage almost does nothing. Smear campaign, you can't actually choose who to smear with. Extort favors can work, but you may as well just go diplomacy and just improve relations to acquire favors. Diplomatic incident, again, you can't choose, so it doesn't really matter. Fire asset can buff up these, which is a decent mechanic, but the operations just suck. Personally, I really like Civ's espionage system. You get to steal resources, or you can steal the relics or wonders or whatever they are, but this could be specimens now that we have Grand Archives. You could siphon off some energy from a planet in a different empire to try and smuggle out alloys or resources. Maybe you could strengthen different internal factions, shifting their ethics and launching coups. Maybe you can fake your own fleet power so they don't attack you. And please let us choose who gets bad relations with who, as these could be good operations and an alternative to war. I think this is what espionage should be, an alternative to actually fighting, but nobody cares. And maybe you could station envoys or spies at home to assassinate any troublemakers, or do counter intel so people gathering intel on you is slower, or it will catch spies trying to steal money or trying to steal a specimen. Spy mechanics in games can get annoying, but if it's decent, not amazing, and you have counters to it, it could be good. And also, imagine coming over to a full empire and actually being able to do some espionage. Maybe this will require a late game tech, because obviously they are technologically overwhelming, but trying to launch a massive mission to steal technologies or information from a fallen empire, this would give them more use late game, and I think that should cost a lot, as it is a damn fallen empire. There isn't actually a screen for espionage, even though it could very well be, as it could be very important for your empire. You currently have to go to diplomacy, then there's a little tab here, and then you get to see the intel on everyone. You can't actually see if missions are going on, if they were successful, the history of missions, what you've done. That would be very cool. Like, how many times have I done negative relations? You have to remember it or write it down. Having a screen dedicated to espionage would be insane. The next thing I wish they would add is a button where you can click it and you subscribe to me. Oh, that already exists if you scroll down. Do it right now, please. At 55k subs, I'm going to get every damn achievement, and I just want to finish it. Please don't add more achievements. Anyway, I've mentioned internal politics quite a lot. This is one of the biggest things that everyone's talking about. However, I've not seen someone properly say what they want from it. They just say internal politics and more interactions. Now, I do agree this should probably come, but it needs to be done in a way that isn't tedious and annoying. Remember, we do have factions. This is pretty much only internal politics, and they interact with the council, kind of being happy if they have someone of their ethics on the council. This in turn helps approval, which helps stability. So we already have 4 things linking with each other. We need to be very careful this doesn't get really annoying and that you're just in internal politics window min-maxing. I think crime probably should be reworked. As you can see in this example, I have 6 enforcers because there's a criminal megacorp inside me stealing lots of money. And the only thing I can do is make crime jobs and launch anti-crime campaigns. I think this could be reworked to be a bit more engaging. Let me know in the comments what you think should be changed about crime, the stability and factions. But what I do agree with when I see people talk about internal politics is different governing ethics. We kind of got that with Machine Age, as we can have varying governments, and when 1.0 was released there was lots of different governments. That would be cool so that it's more dynamic. Maybe they go crazy and add more ethics and civics, and we have a bunch in between like Xenophile, spiritualists. Maybe we can create religions with spiritualists that internally we worship, and maybe it adds interactions with fallen empires that guide you on a way. There's a lot they could do. I just hope it's not annoying, and this is the one that I see the most that I'm like, what exactly do people want? So let me know in the comments. Next, something I've always wanted to see, and it could have come with Paragons, is history and stats of your empire. Since in the recent dev's diary talking about the vision, they've kind of shifted into a role-playing strategy 4x game. Imagine being able to see the history of Eugene Krabs, who's lived for 115 years, guided this empire. All we can see about him at the minute is his skill and age. But imagine there was like a history page where you could see when he leveled up, what year, what wars he was leading in, maybe if he had any children that might have become a governor or grandchildren. But then you could even expand this to your empire, like the income over time, where wars happened, how your empire's borders expanded. Just like a little history tab over here could be really cool. Shows accomplishments like your grand archive, when they were found. Tiny tweak that would help the role players and would be just a cool bit of detail. Next is kind of a big one. Quality of life changes. First, when you have massive fleets here, I don't have too many, but you actually have to do maths. I'm not playing Stellaris to do maths here. Why is there not like a total fleet power next to maybe the empire name? So the Krusty Cab, add all of that up to like 80,000. That would just be very nice. Secondly, map icons. So we can see there's Starbase, Megastructure, and Astral Rift. But when there's multiple megastructures or gateways, you have to click on them to actually see them. The UI can actually hide things that are in systems. However, I found a mod that actually kind of fixes this. Maybe it could be next to it, but you can actually see the gateway and megastructure. That would just be very nice. The next quality of life would be these damn science ships. Don't get me wrong. I love automation, but when it runs into damn danger, being automated, as you see in all of my videos at the start of the game, they just stop automating. Please, just let it keep exploring. Please. Also, once there's nothing to do, it stops automating. So if there was nowhere for it to explore, it would just be like, nah, and turn off automation. Maybe a checkbox that lets us just be like, when a new system comes up, or when a new anomaly comes up, or when a new situation comes up, just do it. This is especially for capture space fauna. That would be very, very nice. Like how we've got auto culling and we've got like automatically exhibit. These buttons are very good. Put them for everything. And you could also do the same for relics. Just like, I want to keep this one activated every single time or whatever. Would be very nice. Next quality of life. These damn settings I like how we can customize the game to how we like. I play on very fast settings. One setting that doesn't exist that I literally message the devs, but please make the Galactic community, please just scale based on 1x, like the default's 1. Maybe we want to make it twice as quick or slower. Just a setting, just change these times, please. I barely ever focus on the Galactic community in my games because nothing really gets done. Just, it would be so nice. Maybe buffing some of these numbers so that they're more in line with a lot of the power creep. Just a look over what these do as they haven't changed for ages. And having keybinds would be nice. That's just a thing I like games to have. Also, it's not massive, but one of the reasons I probably lost my fauna only was because I'm playing on those faster settings and fauna still grows at the rate that's default, which is like 15 to 30 years. I know they could be sped up by the tanks, but this default rate, maybe if there's a setting, that would be good. There might be other settings that are like this that are just default and everything else can change, like tech and traditions and start game and mid game, etc. People can just condense the games down and still have the same experience. A simple fix to make habitats not completely annoying. Please just let us do all major and minor orbitals in a system. Maybe a right click here to just build all, because you have to click everyone. It's annoying. Some other changes that would be nice is the AI being able to do what the human player can do, so the galaxy feels more alive. They can't use a lot of espionage missions. I don't think they can do anomalies, which severely limits how many specimens they can get, and other things they can't do, which I can't really remember. Since Satana exists with a bunch of lore and missions that can be done, maybe revamping the other crises to have like situations rather than them just murder everything. Okay, these damn star bases. Where do we start? Firstly, I would love it to be easier to change what these actually do. At the minute, you can't even tab through them like planets. As you can see with planets, you can click tab. You can actually go through every single one. That would be just a very quick, simple step so that it's easier to click these buttons. Because you can click U to upgrade. So I could just do tab U, tab U, tab U to upgrade all the star bases. Also changing them into solar panels, for example, I have to click each module to replace, and I might have to do that 10, 20, 30 times. Very annoying. You could have a template for a starbase, for example, instead of defense platforms. We could see all the options and make them all anchorages and then just change them. Or we could take it even further with that and actually be able to customize all of these components, because at the minute you can't. Like, what is this? 2 plasmas, a disruptor, and then missiles. Why not just do all missiles? We could have like a starbase tab that makes starbases easier to manage. As these are getting more and more important with every update, it seems like it adds more buildings. We got storm rays, we got attractions, we got think tank. Starbases are quite important. This also could tie into unyielding, so maybe you can't design them unless you got unyielding. That would make sense. Make starbases easier. Micro hell. Maybe you can make them auto build as well. Like maybe you can have a certain auto build over planets or at borders. Okay, as I've mentioned before with espionage, the same is also said for enclaves. Now, at the minute, the best way to find them is to actually sort your planets to 0 because they don't have planets. But they're getting more and more important now with Grand Archives making the creators, if we go to diplomacy, a lot more stuff happening. Now, they've actually made it quite automatic. They will approach you, which is nice. But if they're planning to add more enclaves, we could just have another tab. This tab could also include auto renewal, as the amount of pop-ups you get sometimes if you're getting aided in your research is insane. It would be so nice if that existed. And I think it would be better for newer players to know like where these are and how strong they actually are. These are important, but they're kind of hidden. Next, federations. Now, let me know if you actually use federations a lot, but vassals are almost always better, unless you're doing something like trade, because you get access to Trade League, which gives you unity and consumer goods and energy, and that's the only way to get that trade policy. The rest of these don't really matter. Yeah, 5% trade here and there, cool, whatever. The only reason you want a federation is for a strong bonus. The other federation types don't do much. Maybe they could unlock a cool species right, like academic privilege, that gives you more science, or something that makes the federation unique and worth going. Another thing about federations that people don't want to go it, especially for the buffs that it currently gives, this could be an alternative fix, is just remove the requirement to go diplomacy. Maybe make diplomacy make the federations better, and maybe you get more bonuses from a federation if you go diplomacy, but just let everyone make federation and let other traditions like mercantile unlock the special federations. Why do I need to go 2 traditions to make a trade league when I could just get vassals? I'd also like the options to like prepare a war against someone or have like a focus, like, oh, let's all try and make more trade. The current laws are alright, but they're the same for everyone, and you don't really do too much. Having like a federation meeting, or at least being able to like somehow interact with your federation members to be unified on where you want to go, would be very cool. As you can see with a lot of my suggestions, it's just making already existing features, which I like, slightly better. And something that a lot of you are going to agree with are these damn storms. I think the storms were executed decently, but the idea maybe lacked. The main problem with the storms is that it's an RNG fest. You either get horrifically unlucky, or you never ever have to care about the storms. When you pay for a DLC that might not even do anything, it can't really choose to do a storm. It is kind of flawed. I think it needs a problem that the whole galaxy faces. They could have added a mid-game crisis where a massive storm was coming that's going to affect everyone, and maybe it's the ticking situation, like Satana or the Void Wind Plague, where you can add your own progress to it to then maybe survive the storm, or the storm does less damage to you if you do stuff, and maybe you work together with the galaxy to do it. The storms need a bit of a rethink. Like, the visuals are cool, the bonuses and modifiers and that stuff is cool. It just sometimes doesn't matter, or you die. Next, we've had Machine Age. Just do the same for the other ascension paths. Make genetics really cool. Spiritualist can be done, but I think genetics needs flavor first, as you just get more pops, or you can just modify them. Maybe a freeway system like machines where you can go full into your pops biomodding them. Maybe it's more about biological ships, or maybe planet modding, so you can actually change what the planet does or the features. Something really cool. I trust them with genetic ascension, as machines was very good. And finally, I've played this mod many times on my channel, but a nomadic origin. I think it'd be sick to just fly around in a spaceship, not have a planet. I don't think it's entirely feasible and going to be easy to balance. This basically is a wish list, and I think a nomadic origin would be sick. Don't know how they're going to implement it or balance it. That's my idea. These are the main things that I think they should add and change in Stellaris to make the game even better than it already is. And yes, I didn't mention ground combat. I've gone into this before in a video, but I don't actually think they should change it because it's just going to be annoying. Maybe just remove it. Seriously, the micro for ground combat hurts, but maybe the war system change could make ground combat a bit better. I don't know. I'm just saying. So while this video was being recorded, I was actually invited to Paradox Studio to meet up with the dev team, which is insane. Thank you, Paradox, for inviting. Thank you to you watching. That's the only reason they invited me. I can't say anything specific, but this next year is looking very, very promising. Also, look at this cool Rick the Cube they gave me. It even rotates. Let me know in the comments what you want changed. Now go on to the video where I actually play as the Galactic Scourge right here. It's good. It's a good watch. Go watch it.